Hello. Today we're going to discuss about 6 essential pillars of support after 60 stronger than family. Before we go into detail, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. It helps us continue creating more valuable content just for you. Now, in this video, you're going to learn about the 6 most powerful sources of support that seniors often overlook. Support systems that can become even more reliable, emotionally fulfilling, and life-transforming than family itself. These pillars include real-life connections, community-based strength, internal emotional resources, professional guidance, peer-based companionship, and purposeful routines. By the end of this video, you'll not only feel more empowered, but also equipped with practical insights on how to build a safety net in your later years that is dependable, loving, and tailored exactly to what you need as we grow older. Many of us face a reality where family may not always be present in the way we expected. Our children grow busy with their own lives, some live far away, and others simply don't understand the unique emotional, physical, and mental challenges we go through after 60. And that's where the need for a deeper, more intentional form of support steps in. The first powerful pillar is friendship forged by shared experience. Unlike family, these friends are chosen. They've walked similar roads, carry similar scars, and understand what it feels like to face loneliness, changing health, or financial uncertainty. When you meet someone who knows what it's like to wake up to silence, or to walk through the supermarket and feel invisible, something deep clicks. This kind of friendship doesn't demand, it uplifts. It shows up for a walk, for a heartfelt chat over tea, for emergencies. You need to seek out these people through senior clubs, community classes, or even local hobby circles. One authentic friend can become a lifeline stronger than 10 relatives. Second, comes the importance of community support programs. These are not just services, they are bridges to human connection. Senior centers, local libraries, wellness classes, walking groups, volunteering events. All these environments are designed to wrap older adults in warmth, belonging, and purpose. You don't just go there for activities. You go to feel alive, to laugh again, to feel seen. Many seniors who actively attend such programs have reported feeling more energized, more socially satisfied, and less dependent on their families emotionally. They gain a circle, a rhythm, a place where they're not judged but celebrated. Whether you're an introvert or someone who's been socially active all your life, there's a corner of community support that fits you. The third pillar is developing emotional resilience. This is an inside job. It's a silent, powerful form of support that no one can take away from you. Emotional resilience means building strength within to handle loss, change, health setbacks, or feeling forgotten. It means learning how to self-soothe, how to build joy even when no one's around, how to validate yourself. You start this journey by journaling, meditating, reading life-affirming material, seeking therapy if needed, or practicing daily gratitude. It helps you shift your focus from what's missing to what's working. The truth is, once you learn to sit with yourself in silence and not feel empty, you'll realize that you were never alone, that your peace was never dependent on anyone else to begin with. Then there's professional support. The fourth pillar is finding the right professionals who can guide, support, and uplift you with wisdom and care. This can be a counselor, a life coach, a geriatric specialist, a physiotherapist, or even a financial advisor who understands post-retirement concerns. These experts don't just solve problems, they give you back your confidence. Many seniors don't realize how helpful just one session with a good counselor can be. It can lift years of emotional weight. Or how helpful a wellness coach can be in rebuilding a daily structure that feels meaningful. These are the people who give you tools to build your own foundation, and their role becomes even more important when family dynamics are strained, distant, or unavailable. The fifth pillar is peer support groups. These are small circles where people meet, often guided by a facilitator, to share their stories, challenges, triumphs, and coping mechanisms. Whether it's a grief support group, a chronic illness circle, a spiritual discussion group, or a retired professionals meetup, these spaces create magic. You realize you're not the only one struggling. And in that realization, something amazing happens. You stop hiding your pain. You start healing. You begin to trust again. What's even more powerful is that you become a support for someone else, and in doing that, you find new purpose and pride. Lastly, the sixth pillar is creating a daily life filled with small, powerful routines that serve you. This includes healthy habits like morning walks, evening reflections, reading, stretching, meal planning, social check-ins, and even fun. Routines that remind you every day that you matter. It's easy to let the day slip away when you're not accountable to anyone. But when you set a routine that serves your emotional, mental, and physical health, you reclaim control. You reduce the power of loneliness and increase your sense of fulfillment. Many seniors who thrive after 60 do so not because of perfect families or endless money, but because they built strong daily rituals that kept their minds sharp, their hearts full, and their spirits hopeful. When you combine all these pillars, intentional friendships, community involvement, emotional resilience, professional guidance, peer circles, and purposeful routines, you build a foundation more stable than the unpredictable support that sometimes comes from family. You're no longer at the mercy of who shows up or who forgets your birthday. You've created a life where you show up for yourself. And that's freedom. That's dignity. That's joy in its purest form. So, if you're feeling like you're walking alone in this phase of life, know this. You have options. Real, beautiful, empowering options. Don't wait for someone to save you from isolation. Save yourself by building these 6 pillars around you, one step at a time. Because once these supports are in place, life after 60 doesn't just feel bearable. It feels rich, full, and worth waking up for every day. And you deserve that. And as you move forward into your 60s and beyond, the depth and reliability of these 6 pillars can often feel more emotionally present than the voices of those you expected to rely on. The beauty is, each pillar doesn't require you to be rich, famous, or have a large family. All it asks is your willingness to reach, to show up, and to trust the process of growing stronger, more connected, and more grounded. And perhaps the most touching part is that these supports often come into your life quietly, unexpectedly, just when you need them most. That friend from the painting class who calls you when you don't show up. The community yoga instructor who notices your limp and offers helpful advice. The librarian who recommends a book that changes the way you see aging. These are real lifelines, and they form a net around you that lifts you higher than you could climb alone. With every passing year, there's a misconception that growing older means growing weaker or more isolated. But the truth is, it could be the most empowered chapter of your life if you root yourself in these sources of strength. Emotional independence is one of the most liberating gifts aging can bring. When you begin to rely on yourself for peace, and not just on who visits or calls, you stop fearing the quiet moments. In fact, they begin to nurture you. You start noticing the little joys again. The warm cup of tea, the morning breeze, the calm that comes when you've let go of old expectations that no longer serve you. What also becomes crystal clear is that emotional support is more important than physical help in most cases. Sure, a ride to the doctor's office is great, but someone who genuinely listens to how you feel, without judgment, is far more powerful. These are the people who allow you to speak your truth. You don't need to perform. You don't need to pretend. Whether it's in a peer group or a spiritual circle, these interactions offer something that many older adults quietly crave, being understood without having to explain. They fill the emotional space that family sometimes neglects, not out of cruelty, but often out of busyness, ignorance, or distance. And then comes the sense of purpose. You see, when you have pillars that encourage you to engage, to share, and to contribute, you stop seeing yourself as someone just waiting out time. You become the person who uplifts others. You teach, you mentor, you laugh, and suddenly, you're no longer alone. You're essential to someone else's journey. Whether it's volunteering at a school, reading to children at the library, organizing a book club, or helping another senior learn how to use a phone, these tiny acts of purpose create a ripple effect of meaning. You feel alive, needed, connected, and no family dynamic can take that away from you. These 6 pillars are like branches that hold up the tree of your later life. They absorb the storms. They shelter you. They allow new leaves of hope and joy to grow, even when you thought the season for that had passed. And every time you choose to show up for a walk, join a discussion, check in with your counselor, or commit to a habit that brings you health and happiness, you reinforce those pillars. Even when you don't feel like it, doing the action gives you back a piece of your strength. One step leads to another, and over time, what felt like a hollow chapter begins to bloom again. Sometimes you have to mourn the family you wished you had. Sometimes you have to release the bitterness that grows when you're forgotten or dismissed by the people you raised or cared for. But healing doesn't always come from those people returning. It comes from building something even better. When your joy no longer hinges on someone else's schedule or approval, you take your power back. These support systems help you get there. They remind you that just because you're older doesn't mean your life is on pause. It's still unfolding, still rich with new beginnings, still capable of delight and wonder if you're willing to participate. Even the smallest shift can lead to massive emotional transformation, like setting a morning routine where you play music that lifts your mood, or writing down 3 things each evening that made you smile, or calling one friend each week to check in. These aren't big, flashy moves, but they create structure. And in that structure, your emotional and mental health starts to thrive. Structure isn't just about organizing your day. It's about reminding your brain that you matter enough to care for. When you care for yourself consistently, you become your own strongest pillar. And let's not forget about the spiritual pillar many seniors rediscover or deepen after 60. Whether it's through faith, meditation, nature, or personal reflection, spirituality becomes a profound source of inner peace. It gives your experiences meaning. It helps you reconcile the past, release regrets, and walk forward with grace. Even if you're not religious, spiritual reflection can be a source of immense emotional healing. Taking time to sit in stillness, to connect with something larger than yourself, can soothe anxiety and strengthen emotional endurance. It makes the losses feel less like endings and more like transitions into new phases of your story. You deserve a story that feels good. A story where you are surrounded, supported, and seen. And even if your biological family has faded into the background or never showed up in the way you needed, these 6 pillars can surround you like a new chosen family. One built on intention, shared values, and mutual support. That's the secret many thriving seniors have discovered. That once you stop hoping family will fill every gap and instead start building the support you truly need, your whole world changes. And you no longer feel like you're just surviving, you start living fully again. One of the most surprising things about growing older is realizing how much strength you actually have. The kind of strength that's not loud or obvious, but deeply rooted in everything you've been through. And when you start building support systems around that strength, it multiplies. You become someone others look up to, someone who carries wisdom, calm, and clarity. That's what these 6 pillars do. They take everything you've already survived and help you thrive with it. And what's beautiful is that none of this relies on anyone else's permission. You don't need a family member to show up. You can take control of your joy and build these networks on your terms with your timing and in a way that works for your energy and your lifestyle. IT starts with one decision. To show up for a local event, to pick up the phone and ask about a support group, to wake up a little earlier to take a short walk and feel the sun. It may seem small, but it opens the door. And once that door opens, you'll start noticing the difference. You'll feel lighter, more energized. Your thoughts won't spiral the way they used to. You'll stop replaying old disappointments and start looking forward to what's next. Because there's always a what's next. Life doesn't end at 60, 70, or even 90. It evolves. And when you're supported by these pillars, you'll feel it evolve in the best way possible. Some people may say, why bother now? Isn't it too late to start building new relationships or creating routines or developing emotional habits? But that mindset is what holds people back. The truth is, every day is a fresh page. Every hour gives you another chance to do something different. It's not about erasing the past. It's about adding meaning to the present. The most powerful seniors are not the ones who had perfect lives or perfect families. They're the ones who refuse to give up on themselves. They're the ones who decided that their happiness was worth the effort. And yes, there are days when you'll feel lonely. Days when you'll wish things had turned out differently. But those days are not the full story. You can acknowledge the pain without living in it. You can feel it, process it, and still move forward. The key is having support around you. Support that's consistent, loving, and empowering. And that's exactly what these 6 pillars are built to provide. You may start slow. Maybe you only build 1 or 2 at first. But over time, the others will follow. Because when you take the first step, momentum grows. Your confidence builds, and your heart begins to open again. Think about how your day would feel if you had someone to talk to every week who truly understood you. Think about waking up with a sense of purpose, knowing you had something meaningful to do, somewhere to be, or someone to help. Think about having a personal routine that brought you comfort and peace, that reminded you daily of your worth. Imagine going to bed feeling proud of how you spend your day. That's what this is really about, creating a life that feels right for you, not just one that looks right to others. And when you start leaning into this kind of support, you begin to age differently. Your body might feel stronger, your mind clearer, your mood more stable. Seniors who build these support structures often report fewer health issues, less anxiety, better sleep, and more joy. Because it's all connected. When your emotional world is nurtured, your physical health follows. Your relationships deepen. And even if your family isn't as involved, you begin to attract people who genuinely want to be around you. Not out of obligation, but out of shared love and respect. The beauty of these pillars is that they're customizable. You don't have to copy someone else's path. You build what works for you. Maybe your emotional resilience comes from gardening, while someone else finds it through journaling. Maybe your community is your church, while another person finds it in a dance class. There's no right or wrong way to create support. The only mistake is believing you have to do it alone. You don't. Help is always closer than you think. But you have to be willing to open your hands and receive it. And sometimes, you'll find your strongest support from people who aren't related to you by blood, but are bonded to you by heart. People who see you, hear you, and value you exactly as you are. That kind of connection is rare, but when you find it, you'll understand why many seniors say their chosen family became their real family. It's not about who raised you or who you raised. It's about who shows up now, who celebrates you now, who walks beside you in this season of life with kindness, patience, and warmth. The sooner you allow yourself to explore these 6 pillars and build them into your daily experience, the sooner you'll feel grounded again. Life won't feel so unpredictable. You won't feel so emotionally exposed. You'll have stability, peace, and genuine joy. Not the kind that depends on someone else making time for you, but the kind that blooms from within and spreads into everything you do. That's the goal, to live your later years not as a burden to others or a shadow of who you were, but as a full, vibrant, emotionally supported version of yourself.